with views of the harbor, the gardens, and the courtyard.
And now for the latest financial information on European and American markets. Stay with us on Pearl 4 World Market Update.
An historical trail commemorating Dr. Sun Yat-sen. A new watch that puts accuracy above all else. A spa treatment that puts gold on your skin, literally. Also, the latest art scene. And the tea drinking culture. Thursday night, Dolce Vita at 10 on Pearl. Will Rambo stay on top?
Suddenly, Harry makes a surprise attack.
Harry's giving him a beatdown.
Will Harry win the fork challenge again? Friday, Big Baboon House at 8:30 on Pearl.
Good evening. Concerns about the ability of U.S. politicians to reach a consensus on a deal to raise the country's debt ceiling weighed on markets today. This left stocks flat in early trading on Wall Street. The U.S. government has to raise the debt ceiling by October 1st, or else it won't be able to pay all its bills. That could possibly shake confidence in the world's largest economy. Another area investors will be monitoring: comments from the U.S. Federal Reserve officials on when the central bank will begin reducing its monetary stimulus. To the charts now. The Dow Jones is up 32 points. The S&P 500 is up 3 points. U.S. 30-year Treasury bond is priced at $99.09. Spot gold $1,335 an ounce. U.S. dollar cross rates: the yen 98.64, the euro 1.35, and the sterling 1.6. European markets: the UK FTSE is down 19 points, the French CAC is flat, and the German DAX is almost flat. Stay with us, the news is next.
You're watching TVB Pearl. Up shortly, we hand you over to our news department for a summary of all the day's top stories in the News Roundup.
Out there beyond that fence, we have an indigenous population called the Na'vi. They are very hard to kill.
Just relax and let your mind go blank. It shouldn't be hard for you.
Welcome to your new body, Jake.
This is great.
You should not be here. Go back. Well, this is your fault.
I need your help.
Sunday night at 8:30 on Pearl's Pick of the Universe. What he was sent to destroy,
You forget what team you're playing for?
he will fight to defend. F&H by Funko presents Avatar at 8:30 on Pearl.
It's just like heaven here, with beautiful flowers and trees, birds and nice people. But look over there. Accumulation and storage of water encourages mosquito breeding. Illegal gardening on slopes and digging of drains can erode the soil and cause landslides. Look at notices carefully. This is government land. Illegal cultivation is an offense liable to a fine of $50,000 and 6 months jail. For healthy living and public safety, don't excavate or cultivate illegally on government land.
Think you're getting too much oxygen? We have you covered. Tune in to have your breath taken away by the stunning views at national parks in the US. Thursday, best parks ever at 8 on Pearl. 1.4 billion of us are overweight.
People who have a hard time controlling their weight, their brains are being hijacked.
500 million are obese.
And everybody who says it to you, it's all your own fault. Forget it. The evidence is the exact contrary.
Thursday, the men who made us fat at 8:30 on Pearl.
The time now is 11:44. The Time Check was brought to you by Chopin.
Just how much we have to pay to get rid of our household waste, mandatory drug testing for suspected abusers, and Timothy Tong criticized as evasive under fresh grilling. Good evening. Throwing away your household rubbish may cost you on average $40 a month in future. The Council for Sustainable Development has launched a public consultation on a levy. Households that throw out rubbish below a standard amount may get a discount or be exempted altogether. The more rubbish you throw away, the more you'll pay. Is that good incentive to reduce household waste? Some say they would separate the rubbish for recycling. This person says recycled rubbish in the United States would be disposed of separately. The Council for Sustainable Development today released a consultation document on this issue. This follows an Environmental Protection Department public consultation held earlier this year, in which more than half of the submissions supported a rubbish levy. In the consultation document, the Council introduces two different charging methods. The first, a weight-based mechanism where households are charged based on the weight of their trash. The second is volume-based mechanism where households are charged by the volume of what they throw out or by the collection frequency. The public will also have to decide whether households should pay for their own rubbish or all the tenants in one building should be charged as a whole. The document also touches on commercial and industrial waste. Also, the public will have to decide how much should be charged. The document suggests the Taipei and Seoul model of charging domestic waste at a rate of around 10 cents per liter. If this model is adopted, each household would be charged $30 to $60 a month.
Each model, as I pointed out, has got their pros and cons, has got the difficulties and as well as their beauties. Therefore, we need the public to give us their view on these three models. And actually, everybody agrees is not one model can fit all. Therefore, it's possible to have a combination of this different model and which fits each of the estate or each of the household.
The consultation period will start at the end of September and will last for 4 months. After the consultation period ends in January, the Council will look into the opinions and suggestions collected before submitting a report with recommendations to the government by the end of next year. Shu-san of the incorporated owners of Bohemia Garden in Cheongkwan-o believes if they are charged by each building, there will be an increase of rubbish. Some people might feel they are all paying the same amount, so why not throw out more rubbish? Or some residents may think they can throw out a lot of trash and no one will find out it's theirs, he said. Police may be authorized to carry out mandatory drug testing on suspected abusers under certain conditions in the future. The aim is to identify hidden drug abusers as early as possible and refer them to social workers or healthcare professionals. Kirti Nandwani reports.
According to government statistics in the first half of the year, newly reported drug abusers had on average been addicted for 4.6 years when their problems came to the attention of the authorities. But police's hands are tied because they can only prosecute someone for drug possession if the drugs are found on the person. So abusers can get away with it, for example, by throwing the drugs on the floor during a raid. The Action Committee Against Narcotics has now proposed to allow trained officers to carry out mandatory drug tests on suspected abusers under the rescue drug testing scheme. The conditions are that drugs are found at the venue and there are reasonable grounds to suspect the person is on drugs.
We got standardized instructions to make sure that the person involved understand the procedures, and then we got a tape recording so that we can have objective evidence in case there is any dispute. And then for those who are under the age of 18, we suggest that there should be an independent third party. Now, of course, we can have parents, guardians, or some people even suggest that we can have a pool of independent third parties, say including the Justice of the Peace, social workers, reporters, etc.
A suspected abuser will have to respond to some simple questions, asked to walk in a straight line, and failing those, he or she will be asked to provide a urine sample for testing. The entire process will take place in a police station. It will be videotaped, and the footage may be used as evidence in court. First-time offenders may be given a second chance and be referred to social workers or doctors, but repeat offenders will face prosecution. Social workers doubt if such a scheme is useful.
Our frontline experience, most of the youth, they using drugs at their home or their friend's home. Not a lot of them using drugs in the disco, the rave party.
The rescue drug testing scheme will be subject to 4 months of public consultation. The Action Committee Against Narcotics will then come up with a detailed plan for a second round of consultation before summarizing its findings and making recommendations for scrutiny by the Legislative Council. Kirti Nandwani, TVB News.
Former ICAC Commissioner Timothy Tong faced yet another grilling session by legislators today. He was asked to explain why there were inconsistencies between the testimony he gave in an earlier hearing and an independent review committee. And yet again, Tong was criticized for dodging the questions. Here's Diane To.
Flanked by his lawyers, Timothy Tong faced members of the Public Accounts Committee once again over allegations of overspending under the same oath he took in May. But it was under that very oath that testimony he gave back then came out different from an independent review into his case. And with hundreds of thousands of dollars in public money involved and the anti-corruption body's reputation on the line, lawmakers were determined to get to the bottom of it. But Tong seemed just as determined to defend himself against the allegations by giving the lawmakers ambiguous answers. On inconsistencies about a trip to Yunnan and Beijing, he was found to have taken extra time out to visit places for pleasure.
Did you apply to the chief executive beforehand for an early departure by 2 days? In relation to an early departure by 2 days, the IRC said they did not find the application. I cannot rule out the possibility that it was an oversight. What do you mean? I can only answer in accordance with a report because I cannot remember every single thing I did. How can you say that you can only recall what happened based on the report? You were the commissioner of the ICAC for 5 years, and it is intolerable. You're wasting our time.
In other answers, it was more of a riddle. Lawmaker Evelina Leung asked if the decision to claim alcohol expenses separately and not under the usual claims form was made by the Community Relations Director Julie Mu instead of himself.
By logic, it's not my idea. It was not my idea. But does it mean that it necessarily had to be someone's idea? I cannot be sure. Where's the logic? Where's the logic? So it's the fault of society? No. But it's not your idea, it's not anyone's idea, but there was an approval. It has to be logical. Well, but it's not my idea. Does it mean that it's someone else's idea?
The hearing will continue tomorrow with current ICAC Chief Simon Pei and the Community Relations Director to give their testimonies. Diane To, TVB News.
Overseas now, Iran's new president has told the United Nations General Assembly that he's prepared to engage in meaningful talks over his country's nuclear program. Hassan Rouhani also says he does not seek to increase tensions with the United States. U.S. President Barack Obama has cautiously embraced the Iranian leader's overtures as the basis for a possible nuclear deal. But failure to arrange a simple handshake between the pair underscored a long distrust that will be hard to overcome. Alan Buknia reports.
Hassan Rouhani's speech signaled Iran's return to a more measured, if still resolute, approach to foreign policy. But his speech also delivered the message that diplomatic warming will not come quickly or easily.